Your turn to pick.
Let's go. I'm the man in Dota 2. We can take it to the scrimmage, and you know that I'll be winning. Just give it 30 minutes. Yanking in the lane. Hey, yo, he's in that gross. I see him trying to kite. Yeah, let's see just how far that goes. I carry in the scoreboard, he's carried in the hearse. Your tier 2 towers and your rats getting murked. Demolished what's in my way from the start to the finish. Like I said in the beginning, I'm the man.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to First Pick episode number 3. It's already been 3 weeks, which is kind of hard to believe, but we're back at it yet again. This week as well, Merlini was casting, so who better to get than the poor man's Merlini? We got Capitalist here again to fill in his role. How are you doing, man? How's your Sunday?
I am doing fantastic, or was going fantastic until I got called the poor man's Merlini. No, it's
that was a self-proclaimed title. That was not me.
It really was. I completely embraced that because I love Merlini's casting. So if people compare me to him, then I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I'm down with that.
Very good. Also joining us as usual, but I got the Batman cup out today for the Batcave, and then then Mania went and got a light so you can see his face today. So Mania, how's it going? Is it bright over there? Do you need some sunglasses? Everything okay?
I got a new lamp, so everything is good now.
Very nice. Are those esport bucks paying off?
Oh yeah.
Big time.
And then rounding this out today in the 4 slot is Frost, other known as The Goods there for a while, but now it's Frost. I know your Reddit is still The Goods, which is confusing, but Frost, Dota 101, Flipside Tactics, you've probably seen him before. Not in the Batcave. How's it going?
Good, man. All about the shots fired today, huh?
You know what? I gotta add something because I started with the poor man's Merlini. It's like, I can't leave you hanging. So, but yeah, we're back. This is episode 3. Sorry for the delay on the day. We had some issues. Actually, I had some issues yesterday. So, yeah, we had to take care of it. So this week in Dota, Mania, why don't you start? Anything exciting? Any particular games? Anything you watched? Obviously, the patch is the big thing, but what's been going on the week for you?
I just finished watching the finals of TechLabs, like the highlight with the bear, and then
yeah, that's right. That's what I was gonna say.
That was actually
that's
pretty
my
fun.
highlight.
What? Like that was the most bizarre, weird thing. Like what was the point? I have no idea. I'm at a loss for words.
Oh.
And they were cool about it. No one was scared.
Belarus for the win.
But who thought, like, hey, let's have this tournament, we'll have the finals, and then let's bring a bear on stage? Like, at what point is that a good idea? So.
And Puppy was a champ about it, too. He petted the bear, received the thing from it, too. Like.
Well, of course Puppy was. He's like the same size as the bear, and he's got as much hair on him. The bear probably is like, oh, that's my long-lost brother, you know? It's
actually.
Like, of course Puppy's good with it.
He was larger than the bear, which I thought was astounding. He was bigger than the bear. I was like, jeez.
So now we're going to see tournaments trying to one-up the bear. We're going to get like a lion or something at the next one.
Harpy Gaming. That's next. Watch.
Is that MLG? Is that what's going on at MLG next week?
I'm telling you, that's the big secret. Everyone is the buzz. Watch.
We've already got to the bear talk. You guys are throwing me off. I don't know. Let's talk about TechLabs, NaVi, Empire. Frost, did you get a chance to catch those games?
Yep.
What's your thoughts? I guess the 2 big highlights of that series was the NaVi Empire matchup earlier in the tournament. Everyone was kind of hyped on that, and then obviously they played in the finals. I mean, what do you think of the tournament overall, and how was your thoughts on it?
I think the production is good, but I think the Europeans have it pretty down pat. I mean, even EMS is really nice, and I mean, Mania can tell you because we sent this, we sent them there. I just think they know what they're doing, even though the Bears kind of, I mean, I guess weird, right?
Fucking
to us.
Cool. The Bears fucking.
In reality, it's it's a cool idea, right? So.
But how do you pitch that? Like in the meeting of
I don't know. It would have made more sense to me if Alliance won and Admiral Bulldog was on stage, because Admiral Bulldog was supposed to be in Korea. I don't know how he ended up in the CIS region so quickly, but what I can tell you is I think those ideas are pretty cool. I mean, it creates more of an atmosphere, for an event, and I think that's the good thing that's coming out of all these lands that just keep getting more sophisticated and keep getting better production and all that stuff is now gaming is becoming an event, not just like a game. It's an event now, and I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, the Bears sort of like, huh? But I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's kind of like the growing pains of you're getting these LAN events, and there's so much competition now between all of them. I mean, we've got so many different events going on. There's so many different things to be watching. Every single event's like, all right, well, how are we going to make this unique? And they're going to be some weird kind of, who came up with that idea? Just somebody who's like throwing shit out there, just trying to be as unique and drawing as many viewers as possible. And I mean, we're talking about it now, so obviously it worked, right? Obviously, you know, the marketing-wise, I mean, it's obviously doing great. But that and like the kissing contest and the Macho Man deal that was going on in Pinoy Dota, I mean, I love it. I mean, let's. I mean, it feels like it's cheese, right? You get these drafts that are like level 1 Roshan. It feels like that's cheese. It feels like events are trying to cheese their way into. Let's not get too cheesy. I mean, it's entertaining now, but let's not get out of control too much. Next thing you know, we're gonna have like reality show as they're like gonna bring these teams in. Then they're gonna be like, oh, and now you're gonna be in this like 3-day reality show sort of deal. And I don't know. Let's
they almost had that in China, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Wait.
Jesus.
Oh.
Well, that's what they do. That's what they did with League of Legends for a while. They had like Game House, and they had.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not allowed to.
Well,
talk
I think
about
there's
that.
been a
But-
yeah. I think there's been that reality show. I think it's coming though. Like,
But is it
you know,
good?
primetime.
Does
Well, I'm
having
talking
a
more
bear?
extreme. I'm talking like Survivor-esque. They're gonna like lock them
Okay,
away.
now that sounds good.
oh, the ultimate fighter, but
Yes.
like for like a team, you're fighting for a competition.
Yes.
You have all these mids, all these offlaners, all these supports, all fighting for that spot on that one team.
Okay, so
That'll
that
be
sounds more
hilarious.
exciting. I don't want to see some bullshit reality show with these guys living in a house. I mean, that would not be exciting. But yeah, some kind of like, you know, vote people off the island, kick them out of the house or something. That sounds
Yeah.
great. But Cap, I was gonna say to you, do you think having stuff like the kissing contest and the bear and all this kind of dumb shit, like, does that actually help the image of professional gaming or, you know, Dota on kind of a wider scale rather than just the gamers that play the game?
Okay, so the kissing contest felt like I like that more, but at the same time I'm like, well, it kind of goes back to like, oh, the gamers, a bunch of, you know, sexless virgins who never kissed a girl. Like, I don't know, there's something about that rings to me just kind of like out there. The bear is just, I don't know, so far out there that I can't even like grasp who was like, we bring bear now to event. Like, whoa,
vodka.
okay. All right, he was just like chugging vodka or some shit. Came up with that idea. I mean, it's good. I'm glad that events are thinking outside of the box. That they know that they can't just sit there and do the same shit. Oh, set up some desks, set up some chairs, get some lights going. Hey, we got ourselves an event. No, they're trying to think outside of the box. They're putting money into making these events more fun for not only just the players that are going there and the people, but also the people watching. I mean, that YouTube clip of you know, winter and the images of gods and everything. I mean, that's getting around, and I think it's good for the scene in general. I think there's the danger of us getting a little too far out there, but you know, and that's just the growing pains of esports, and we're getting more money and more people watching, and there are going to be some hiccups. So, but in general, I think it's good for the scene.
Now, what if we combine the two and we do a kissing contest with a bear? Yeah.
Well, I think Puppy is overpowered in that regard. Clearly, he has some sort of relationship with the bear. Everyone else, like Kuro's like tiny little Kuro is going to be like, you know, he's going to be afraid of that bear.
Oh, he wanted no part of the action. Kuro was in the back of the line behind Havos and Dendi. Like, no. I'm not. No. That actually happened. Like, you can watch the VOD. He was the furthest one. I wonder if it was because he's German, right? He's smart, right? So I think if we're gonna look at this geographically, I think Kuro definitely held the title for being the smartest one on that group, because he was the furthest, and I was still shocked. I mean, I embraced the fact that Puppy was so courteous to them, but that was really crazy what he did. He pet the thing. He pet a bear.
Okay, so it has to
be. What if
be.
they take a swipe at his hand?
It has to be a tame bear.
Over.
It has. Okay, so in order for them to go get a bear and bring it on stage, it has to be some kind of like. It grew up in a house, living on somebody's couch or something dumb. Like they wouldn't just grab some rabid bear.
Animals, Finch.
Yeah, you always hear those stories of, oh, I've had this pet bear since 10 years, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, it ends up mauling them and killing them, and it's like, oh, no shit, right? But I'm sure they took precautions and made sure it was super safe and everything like that, and good on Puppy manning up like that. But yeah, I'm down with the kissing bear, I guess. All
right.
Until hey, yeah.
It was a good tournament as well. Like let's not have that be lost in the shuffle here.
We can't just talk about bears for like 45 minutes and call it a show.
I mean, we could, but then let's start talking about bulldog. That's the natural evolution of this conversation, right? That's the next segue in this thing.
All right, so segue to the games. Let's talk about the games. How were the games? Like, did any stand out for you?
Well, I don't think NaVi should have won the series. I think they should have lost game 1, and then they ended up losing game 2. And I think Empire should have 2-0'd them. It was a pretty incredible finals because game 1, I just think Empire took too many fights instead of just being smart and meticulous with the lead that they have. I think they were too Russian for their own good, and it definitely came back to bite them because NaVi took advantage of a few mistakes and a few people being out of position, and that's the hard thing when you have a lead. Keeping the lead, in my opinion, should be paramount, only depending on the draft. So if you obviously can't scale well into the late game, then you obviously have to apply the pressure. I didn't think that Empire's draft put them in that sort of bind. I didn't know why they kept rushing it, and that's what I took away from it. Was I think this is one that Empire got away, or that they let get away, but that's pretty incredible considering NaVi. They've taken titles away from Alliance recently, and if Empire comes back to their old form, a lot of people don't remember, but last year around this time, Empire dominated the scene for quite a bit. I mean, they were doing really well, and then they had a fallout, so if they can get to that sort of strength, I mean, that's going to be really good for the European scene in general. But I was really surprised at how well they played. They really did play a fantastic tournament. It sucks that somebody had to lose.
Well, I think the thing with Empire that surprised me is they had such a recent roster swap with Scandal leaving Empire, or getting kind of forced out and bringing Resolution in. I thought that roster swap, is probably a good one if it works out. But it is hard to play with somebody new, and the fact that they played so well in this tournament with a new player, in their squad, it was pretty impressive. Mania, did you get a chance to catch any of the games?
Yeah, I just think Resolution actually fits very well with them.
Mm-hmm.
He makes a lot of plays, and he moves a lot around on the map and trying to make room for everything. I just felt like in the last game that when Meg had a really good start, then he died a few times, and he used his ult sometimes where he got caught where he didn't really get his target and stuff like that. I think after that it was harder for Luna to find space to farm, so it was mostly if Luna had a really good farm, I think they would win the game easily with Resolution and Doom just trying to make action all around the map. So I don't know. I just feel like they could have done better if Doom didn't die too much in the early game.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Resolution lives up to the hype? He seems to be probably the most hyped player right now. Whenever people talk about him, they always talk about they always say something positive. Weirdly enough, they always say the young superstar, or this guy has potential and stuff like that. Do you think he lives up to all that hype that he gets?
Yeah, I think he really plays well.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs more experience and more game time and more lands and stuff like that. I think he can find a really good situation here in this team. I think they want to practice a lot, at least of the statement they all made from the team members. So it's I think it will be a really good team soon. It is actually a really good team, but they can be even better, more sharp in their movement and stuff like that.
Should be exciting.
Does anybody have any inside info on what happened? Because not too long ago, Scandal was considered one of the stronger European mids. I mean, there was a time when Empire, had Goblak and Scandal. That Scandal was the best mid in Europe over S4 and Dendi, and he was clearly playing that way. Does anyone know? Because I don't. I obviously am not close enough to that.
But didn't they
situation.
tell everything already?
Well,
they had a fight, and he didn't really wanna play together with the team. And then when you don't want to play together with the team, you don't practice that much, and you play alone, and then it's it's slowly getting out of the team. So I don't know.
The best thing about that whole thing is someone made a Reddit post, and I don't know. I wish I wrote the guy's name down because it cracked me up. But he took the Allen Iverson speech and just substitute practice for he substituted for scrims or something. I was dying laughing. So in my eyes now, Scandal now is the Allen Iverson of Dota. So good or bad.
I don't know. I think that's sort of unfair because Scandal's really good. I mean,
Allen Iverson was good.
This is also though part of the reason why Light of Heaven had a big fallout with NaVi though, was from his perspective, he seems to be like a Dota junkie. Now I don't know because I don't know him personally that well. I just know what I hear in conversations I've had. He used to fight with them about their lackadaisical attitude and all that stuff. That could be sort of the Light of Heaven culture being developed where he's insisting that everybody practice and do this and that, and Scandal may have been like, whoa. I've been here forever, and then, all that stuff. Because if that's the case, Mania, if it is true exactly that press release was the truth, because you know how it works, though. There's a press release, and then there's sometimes the truth. So that's why I'm kind of asking. But the thing is, if that's the case, then I think the culture the Light of Heaven has brought to Empire is a positive one in that respect. And unfortunately for him, though I think it's unfair to call him the Allen Iverson of Dota 2, I guess you're sort of right. I just think that I just hope that there's more to the story, because I think he's too good to have that happen to him too. Because there's a lot of players that we can name that have fallen apart since the release of Dota 2 because of their lack of effort that used to be really big names back in Dota 1. So
and
hope that's not the case.
Do you have any hunch on where Scandal's going to end up? Does anybody?
I don't think. Yeah.
There was talks of Roxkiss, wasn't there?
Yeah. But that's like VP, Roxkiss, and Empire. If you're Russian and you're good, you're going to be there.
You just swap between the three
at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my I got people I talk to about all the other scenes, but the one person that has the CIS scene pretty well locked on, because I don't know, he's in love with the Russians or anything. My contact there is Toby, and he's in Korea, and I haven't talked to him forever. So I have all these questions I want to ask him, because I'm sure he's in the loop about that shit. But I haven't been able to talk to him. So unfortunately, I have no knowledge on the CIS team.
We'll have to see. Going forward, obviously, like Hector, you said, he is a phenomenal player, and for a while was kind of the best mid out there. So whoever does pick him up, it'll be beneficial to them. Hopefully we get some more. I always love when something happens and then over time, the more nitty-gritty details pop out. So hopefully we hear some more details on actually what went on, what happened, and all that kind of sort of good stuff. But keeping with the sad team drama, so Dignitas had a rough week, a really rough week. So what was it, Monday? I think they started, and they said, okay, so. You remind me on the chain of events. Well, did Bleak and 1437 leave first? Was that what started the whole thing?
They kicked Korok.
Okay, all right. So they kicked Korok.
And him and Bleak are super tight.
Okay, so that was on Monday or Sunday or Monday. They kicked Korok, and then 2 days later, Bleak and 1437 leave Dignitas, and then they announced Demon's gonna reform the team for MLG, and MLG says, hey, we're standing by it. This is Dignitas' spot. They're gonna get 5 or 6 guys and fill this roster. I guess 3 guys. And then, Friday, as Dignitas says they're dropping their Dota 2 squad, MLG says they're giving away the Dignitas spot. They're giving it to Sigma International. So what went wrong in this week span? Cap, do you have any insight?
Well, this team has. I mean, before all of this came out, before Demon even joined the team, it was kind of known that this team was on the rocks. This team was. is like there were so many people talking about the fact that this team was going to explode at some point in time, and then all of a sudden Demon joins the team, and Demon is such a unique personality, and he brings so much to the table, but sometimes those things he can bring to the table are rather combustible. Like the levels, like first it was like, all right, this isn't looking very good, and the Demon joins the team, and it's like an exponential factor. It was just like everybody's counting down the days of when this team is going to blow up. And I don't think it had anything to do with Demon. It was just, that team was already looking really, really poorly, which is why I was surprised that Demon was actually joining them. When I heard that he was going to be joining Dignitas, I was really surprised because I had heard so many different things about how this team was looking so poorly. And I just didn't think Demon was going to be the one coming into the team and being this calming influence and making, ironing all the troubles away. I don't think that was going to happen. So it's no surprise to me that the team blew up whatsoever. The series of events, like them completely disbanding, is a little surprising to me. I thought maybe they were going to rebuild the team with 1437. But he ditched after Bleak announced his retirement and said he was going to be leaving the team. So I think maybe in the future they'll go back to 1437 and talk to him and see if he can, make a team for them. But yeah, I mean, Dignitas completely suspending their whole entire Dota 2 team was not really the outcome I expected. But damn, it did blow up. It did blow up like everyone thought. So.
I think the biggest losers of this whole thing, too, is the fact that they went to that MLG Full Sail tournament. They played in the tournament. They win the slot. Everyone's all like, wow, they played really well. They get this slot, and they're going to play the event. And then this happens a week before the actual MLG tournament.
Yeah, but that was a joke of a tourney, and that was a cash grab for MLG. And you and I spoke about that, and there's a lot of people that I've spoken to about that. And don't even get me started on that bullshit, because that tourney wasn't even justifiable to begin with. It was unfair for them to do that. And I think the biggest loser in all this is Charlie. And this is something that upsets me about this scene in general, that there's a lack of, we're missing consideration, not only for other players, casters, people in the scene and all that stuff, but I think managers are the most slept on part of any team. And I think it's unfair for Charlie to now not only be out of a gig and a job, but out of an organization. But it's crazy how players make these decisions and people make these decisions, because it's even happened with some members previous and Flipside staff, where they make these very selfish decisions for themselves and yet forget that, hey, you're actually part of a team. You're part of a roster. You're part of an organization. Cap is now like a direct partner with Toby. So if Cap makes these incendiary comments, in reality, it's always going to blow back on Toby, because people are going to be like, hey, did you hear what Cap said, and blah, 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 blah. For that implosion to happen, guess who's the guy that pays really the most for it? Because these players can just be like, hey, screw it, like I can do whatever. And it's happened with friends of mine and Cap's before. And it's unfortunate how when people make a team and people are on a team, they don't really consider all the extracurricular stuff that goes on to it. Because Charlie put a lot of work for that team. And I was there at MLG in Full Sail. And I saw what Charlie was doing for that roster. And then for a week later for that implosion to happen, it's sort of like, guys, there are other people here with you too. So if I'm arguing with Finch about something, post-production on this show, say this show's complete shit, and I'm arguing with Finch about all that stuff, there's other people that are an integral part of this. There's people like Steve Mathis, who's the executive producer for Flipside. There's people like Adrian, who does most of our graphics and overlays. So if we just decide to say, hey, fuck this, we're not going to do this shit anymore, those people now have to find another place to do this. And I think that's sort of a problem that I see within the scene, which is the biggest reason why out of AL, the first team I wanted to grab was Mania's, because of Samo. Because they were loyal and they've been together. And teams like that are the ones that we should be pushing forward. And don't get me started on the amount of money that these teams, North American teams, are basically throwing away by recycling the same personalities and the same teams. And guess what? They don't get anywhere. And nothing ever comes out of it. And the NA scene doesn't grow. The play doesn't get enhanced. While people like Mania, who I can attest to this, who has a long, illustrious career, now has retired. He never cashed out like some of these guys. But yet, did you ever hear about a self-implosion by Mania or any of his teams? Any team that's been managed by Samo, did you hear about some craziness that was going on? Most of the time, no. Even when he had the Sony Freezer Come With Me roster, there was no craziness outside of one episode with a girlfriend, which we're not going to mention. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel bad for Charlie because of their actions. He has to live with those consequences, and it's a fucking vicious cycle. And it keeps happening, and it keeps happening after every TI. Right? You get these teams that want to get together and band together, but like nobody has the inclination to say, "Hey, why don't we pick a team that is going to last? Why don't we pick a team that has these favorable personalities?" Outside of TI3, that's what me, Samo, Mania, and Miguel discussed, was if you're going to reform, since Unicorn, Rise, and Miracle, some of them had to part ways, some of them left for real life stuff and all that other stuff, we just said the next roster you create, please make sure that you have the right chemistry, the right personality. Mania can attest to this. You remember that conversation we had, right, Mania? We had like an hour and a half conversation about this. And then he brings in Sakshka, fucking Mad, Fatah, and now Sigma Int, who are the winners of all this, and they deserve it. It's very bittersweet for me. I'm sure it's bittersweet for you, Finch, Mania as well. But they deserve it. Teams like that need to have gotten that spot from MLG in the first place, instead of organizations like this with all this chaos. And unfortunately, people like Charlie, and in the past, Cap knows exactly who I'm talking about. Other managers of really successful teams, they get the short end of the stick when their players decide to be like, hey, look, I'm just going to do this shit for me. F you, I'm out. And I think that's sort of tough.
No, it is. And I think it's part of the growing pains of just the scene in kind of competitive gaming in general. I mean, there's a lot of, we can talk for hours on like all the shitty backroom contracts and shit that goes down, and he said, she said, and people like to use Skype messages as like official contracts, and just like a lot of bad shit happens. So it is sad, but I think over time we're slowly getting away from that. But I think the biggest thing, that was a good rant. I wasn't gonna interrupt you, but I just figured to let it ride. When you're talking about how like Dignitas, they kind of just, it seemed like they grabbed 5 dudes because they needed a roster. There was kind of that sense of like, shit, we need to get a roster out there. There's this MLG thing, we can win this, let's get it together, let's, and rather than looking long term, it was very short term sighted. And it sucks for North American Dota because with that tournament, yes, the level of play wasn't the highest, but I think for a North American thing, it was really cool for people who like to play Dota in North America to go to that event and try to qualify. And the fact that, out of the teams that were there, the team who won it just disbanded and throws away the invite.
No, I completely agree.
If I got 3rd, 4th, or 5th in that tournament, or I guess 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, I'd be fucking pissed. Like,
but remember, that's what I was pissed about. They got monies from sponsors. MLG said this is a professional tournament. They put the odds in Dignitas' favor, and Cap, who didn't even go, I get this or has heard about this, they gave him the perfect scenario from the start to finish, from the setup of the tourney to who they were playing, the times they were playing. It was set up for Dignitas to come right through. In my opinion, if you want to grow the scene and if you want to do something productive like MLG should have done, what you should do is what we do, right? Invitational tournaments for amateurs, right? Except MLG had a very good avenue to be like, you guys are going to get to play against NaVi, Alliance, DK. You're going to be playing against the people that you've watched play for X amount of time, the people that you do nothing but watch their replays. You've been fans of them. You follow them on Twitter, all that good stuff. I think that would have been much better than what they ended up doing. It's just it's like poetic justice that this happened the way that it happened, because it's cynical to, well, to me it's criminal, first off, to call that a professional tourney when there's only one professional team.
It should have been just a qualifier tournament. It should have been
absolutely
winner of this goes in
absolutely
this, bigger and better thing. Mania, what your thoughts on this whole thing? Do you think? I don't guess anything. That was a long discussion.
Yeah, I just agree with everything Hector said. He's like right.
You're just agreeing because he told you were handsome before we started the show.
Oh, exactly.
It's just jealous.
But he's got a really good point. So,
Yeah, the one thing that really that I really hate about the American scene right now is the fact that we get, I don't know, there's so much attention being put on like the superstars of the American scene
Yeah.
when the reality is that they seem to just blow up every single team that they're on. And there's so many good players that aren't in the limelight constantly that have really good attitudes, that are like the glue of every single team that they're on, that you could get these players together. Like, I could probably name 5 players right now that I think would be a great roster. None of them are superstars by any means. Some of them might have been on some good teams. And that would make a really, really strong team. They may not have like the big superstars. They may not draw the big viewers for streams and that sort of thing right away. But I guarantee that 5 months down the line, they'll still be together and they'll be one hell of a team. You know, they'll still be together. They'll be practicing. They'll have committed themselves to this because they want to be there. They want to be, you know, professional players and want to be paid enough to be able to do this every single day. And they'll go on and do great things later on. I mean, I think Liquid, back when they were just Fire, is a really good example of this. That there were five personalities that came together, said they were very, very committed to their cause, and they're still, I mean, most of their players are still together today. That's like the one shining example of the American scene where you still got people together. Now, you know, there have been some replacements and that sort of thing, but for the most part, the core is still there. And I see there's so many different players out there in the American scene that have the potential to be the next team like that will stick together for a very, very long team and will be a strong international contender, not just the American scene. But, you know, the sponsors are too busy chasing the big names and trying to craft these teams around them when they may be very good Dota players and they may be extremely flashy players and great personalities, you know, and that sort of thing, but they're not the kind of people who hold together a team. And that's what the heart of Dota is. It's a team game. It's 5 people coming together. You have to live with each other. You have to play together. You have to get frustrated and yell at each other. I mean, I can't tell you the many times that I've been in scrims in the past and I'm a very calm guy most of the time, but I've just let one out and just, you know, bullshit, you're fucking wrong, all that sort of thing. And then we get over it, and it's like, hey, you know, I'm sorry, that was fucked up, I thought I was wrong, and you move on, right? But when that happens with some of these other players, they're just like, no, I'm too good for this, I'm out. They break apart the team. There's so many things happening like that over and over and over again. And I think there are so many good, underrated players that are not seeing that limelight in the American scene that really should be there.
Yeah, and then there are players that somebody needs to save them from themselves. There's so many players that are really good that just, you know, they want to be right, like they want to be the ace. They want to be Justin Verlander. They want to be LeBron James. But in reality, they just don't have the personality to do it. They need to be safe for themselves. And unfortunately, the bigger organizations, some of them already have great teams, so obviously they wouldn't. But then the other ones that have the means, they either enable these players to continue down that path, and then they provide 2.5 years of nothing but poor results. And I'm sure you can guess which North American team I'm talking about. And then, or you have these other teams that are so desperate for glory that they just want to put, you know, a whole bunch of all-stars, not highlighting any chemistry. And Alliance has already proven that chemistry wins. I mean, there's just no other better description than the one he gave, which was Fire. Complexity, before they joined Complexity, they were just a group of guys. Now, Alliance had big names, but they're still a group of guys. Individually, I don't think they stack up. Like, I don't think any of them are the best in their position in the world. But together, collectively, they've been dominating the scene for about a year now, a year and a half. So I think, like Cap said, unfortunately, sponsors are trying to make money, and their money is only targeting a demographic of people that care. But then the Dota fans, the people that do apparently care, they only like highlights, or not so much highlights, actually. They like drama. They like Twitter. They like all that other bullshit that comes with it. A lot of them really can care less about results. And I think that's sort of like the weird place that we're in right now is we're big enough to have $1 million prize pools, but we're still not large enough to have like a governing body or people organize the system. Like, it's the Wild West right now, if people haven't noticed. I mean, it is, even with contracts.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
mean,
the contract's
it's just the nature of the
scary.
beast. So
I think too. Talking about Cap was talking about get it set in games. Do you think there's any sense of like kind of a cultural thing? We'll talk about sports because I like talking about sports. So like in sports, you have players who are notoriously like dicks to other people. Someone like Kobe, if you screw up, he's gonna get in your face. There's a lot of players that do that, and that's just kind of like the unwritten rule of he's gonna get in my face, but he's trying to make me a better player. I'm not gonna take it personally, and I'm gonna fight back and get better. It seems like within Dota, someone gets in your face, the right attitude is, fuck you guys, I'm done, and quit and leave, or like something like that. Do you think there's any sense of like a cultural thing that these guys who are playing Dota at such a high level might not be familiar with that?
Because contracts don't mean anything.
Okay.
Because nobody is there. Well, yeah.
So if
and
you're
then
getting
I think
paid-
the most important element of all this is none of them have played team sports. No offense. A lot of them have not grown up in that atmosphere. They've grown up here in the internet space. And the internet is creating this very new ecosystem and allowing us to monetize our lives and finance our lives from home. And it's great. But that also means that some of them, haven't interacted on teams before or with other people that often. And I think sometimes you get these, like that bad mix of somebody's really good, really talented, very famous, and it's like a drug in real life. I mean, you guys have all heard the stories in real life, how sometimes it gets to people's heads. But then imagine if you don't have the people skills beforehand because you've never really been in team environments. I think it just, like, it's a nasty brew. And but like I said, it takes the culture, which is us, right? The fans, the people that consume the product, because ultimately, whether people want to disagree with it or not, the sponsors dictate the terms. So if the sponsors want a cleaner, better system, that will eventually have to happen. And if the people demand that system, that's going to have to happen.
It's
Especially teams like Fnatic. I think Fnatic is to me, they're the model of esports. They're the model of almost everything I try to do myself. Look at Fnatic EU.
They're stable.
Bottom line.
All the dudes, they
Stable,
don't
good
go
friends,
out,
cool
they don't go on
guys.
dumb rants on Twitter and stuff like that. Like they present themselves well, they play well. Yeah, they're a good model citizen. Mania, do you think there should be some kind of like, I don't know, we're going way off the topic here, but I'm just kind of interested since you played for so long. Any kind of sense of like not really necessarily a governing body because that's a bigger encompassing thing, but the fact that you could just walk away from a team and there's no real repercussions, because it feels like a lot of these players are like, screw this, I'm going to quit, start my own team, and we'll show them or something like that. Is there a sense of that kind of feeling amongst players that, when there is kind of people getting in fights in between each other and all that kind of stuff?
I think it's like if you do it once, maybe you start to get known as a player who just leaves when it gets tough, and it gets harder and harder for you to find a team. So I think in that sort of sense, it makes it harder for a player to be like not wanted by the other teams. But I think it's really bad that you can just leave and you can dump your contract like that. But right now it's like that, and you need a really strict like contract law then if you want to change that. But right now there's only like that you're being punished by like not being as nice to have on the team. Like that's the only like thing. But there's always like two sides to every story. So
Right.
if you just explain it to some people what you think happened, then you might win some team was over. But I think once you start to swap a lot of teams, you get into a bad cycle, and it's gonna continue doing that until you get like your ego gets put down or some sort of, if you can follow what I say. Like there's a lot of people who are really good, and then if they act like they also play really good and they do everything they want, then in the end it's not gonna work out for them, because as you said, some people just rage a lot and stuff like that. But I think that's
We'll have to see. I don't want a governing body. I think some oversight is good, but I think if Valve kind of stepped in and took complete control over everything, then that is not necessarily a good path either. But there would be nice if, I think the contracts are kind of where it's at. If there's a sense of, okay, once you sign with this team, you're with us for 6 months. You can't just bail and start your own roster and things like that.
I think that's a misconception people have, that a governing body is a bad thing.
Well, I think if there's a governing body,
look
it
at
needs
any
to be
professional sports
a wide. I don't want
league anywhere.
Okay, so how about this? What about
Even
a governing
poker.
body that isn't Valve?
Well, I agree with you that there's a direct conflict of interest. And I wasn't really speaking per se of a governing body controlling everything players do, because you know me, and how we are with our players. We're not like that. However, I think universally, all the owners of the big organizations have to set these ground rules. I'm not talking about collusion, something totally different. But what I'm saying is, I think
different.
there are different organizations that will enable, or there are other organizations that will enable their players. There are organizations with good cultures that develop their players, that have a good streamline of communication between management all the way down. And Mania can attest to that, because he's been on several teams that have not had that, and he's been on a few teams that have, and there's a big difference there. All I'm saying is that I think we should highlight those teams more, the ones that do it the right way, and the people that do it the right way. Like I said, Charlie is a very strong figure. He's a good personality, a good manager. I don't think I'm not absolving him of any blame in any of it, because I don't know whether or not there were some things maybe he did that contributed to this. But what I'm saying is, of the little I know of Charlie, and I've talked to him a bunch, but I don't pretend to know him as well as I know somebody like Cap or somebody like Mania or you. What I will tell you is, I believe, like Samo, he has a good grip of what's going on in the situation. And I think if we empower, our managers a little bit more, and the players a little bit less in that area, because there are a lot of teams that the managers are basically just the whipping boy for the players. Whereas I think, in another sense, I think there are a few capable managers that organizations should stand behind even more so than their players. And I think that change of direction and change of philosophy, I think, will help a lot of these other teams too. Because, like I said, I have a prime example of it in Samo. I see it every day.
You can't trust Samo. He has a gambling problem, so
Samo's hilarious, though.
he is. But
Samo's the coolest Egyptian ever.
You can't trust a guy who loses 5 euros a day every day. It's not good.
Oh no, you won't take financial advice from Samo. That's crazy. You won't take gambling advice from Samo? No. But I can tell you what about Samo, though. He could definitely run a team and or an organization if given the space and the tools and the proper support. I can guarantee it.
All right. Well, let's move on before we run out of time. We've gone way off on tangents. MLG obviously is going to be next weekend. And Cap, you're going to be casting, correct?
I am. I'm going to be casting the second stream with my good friend and shitty Honcaster, Beatis.
Is that his official title?
That has become a thing between me and him since TI3. I was trying to meet as many people as possible that I had that I'd known that I'd not been able to meet at TI2, maybe because they weren't there, that sort of thing. So I wandered into the NA Dota guys, and I was like, oh hey, what's going on? It's introducing myself and saying hi to everybody that I knew, and I don't remember who I was talking to at the time, but it was in this group, and the guy to the right of me was like, oh hey, you're that shitty Honcaster. And I was like, you must be, I was thinking, you must be out of your goddamn mind right now. Like, you really think that's how you act in public? And I look over, and I didn't really recognize them at first, and then I was like, oh, holy shit, that's Beatis. And and I know Beatis back in the Haunt days, and I know he's a super troll and that sort of thing. So I was like, oh, holy shit, it's Beatis. And he was like, it's okay, I'm a shitty Honcaster too. So that's our thing now. But for that one brief moment, I thought that somebody on the internet was acting in public like they do on the internet, and I was just like...
He was about to regulate. He was about to regulate. He was about to let him know.
But yeah, Beatis is a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to that.
Very nice. So it should be fun, a good tournament. I know I'll be watching... actually, I'll probably have all the streams going. I always like to just full-on command center it, where you have just 4 streams just spread across... like some on the laptop, some on the TV, some on the
Oh,
computer.
I need a third monitor so I can put one up over there because I got only my 2 monitors. But yeah, like multi-Twitch, if it's on Twitch, is like a godsend in that regard.
It's very, very nice. So looking forward to that. We talked about last week kind of what the tournament was and kind of some thoughts on it. Frost, since you were on last week, any teams in particular you're going to keep your eye on other than just it's going to be a great tournament?
It's gonna be a great tournament.
All right, that's what I figured. There's too many good teams to like pick one. Okay, pick one. If you had to pick one, who are you taking?
It's gonna be a good tournament.
Come on,
I'm a Dota junkie,
just
so
pick
I
one.
don't have a particular team
Just
if it
pick
isn't our
one
own.
team. Come on.
Oh. Mania, who you going with? I'll plus one it.
Ah.
Oh,
That's
Who you going with? I'll plus one it. Come on, Cap. You're supposed to be on my side.
No.
You add an additional. No.
Additional +1.
Game's
Didn't you say Alliance? Wasn't that the
Not mine.
Yeah. I'd like to see
that's a
DK.
novice. So.
Navi? Okay, you picked Alliance and Navi. That's safe bets. Safe bets.
Wow.
Any shot from Sigma? I'm really excited to see them going. Do you think they are going to pull anything out and play well?
It's bittersweet.
Is no
I
one?
hope they do well.
All right.
I hope they do well.
All right.
I'll at least say that. I love them enough to tell them that I hope they do well.
All right. So MLG will be exciting. That'll be next week. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right, Cap? 22nd,
Yeah.
23rd, 24th.
My stream will just be Friday, Saturday. I think Sunday is just the main stream.
It's like the
Pretty sure that's how it's gonna go.
yes. Usually
So.
they do just like the finals on the last day, or they do like the semis and the finals or something like that. So
Yeah. So all the group stages though are gonna be Friday, Saturday, and that sort of thing. So
Cool.
that's gonna be a lot of fun. And I'm just gonna say Fnatic and Team Liquid.
that's who you're taking.
Team Liquid because we all know how powerful LAN events can be in having your home turf. Like, it actually means something. Being able to go out into a crowd and hear them chant USA, USA when you're walking on stage, like, that starts off your game, like, already, like, on that level. So I think Team Liquid's going to perform really well. And I'm a huge Fnatic fanboy at all times. So, I think one of those two are going to make it into the finals. I'm not going to say that they're going to go all the way and take it, but one of those two, I think, are going to provide the upset and go into the finals.
All right, I like it. You gonna +1 that, Frost?
Definitely not.
Ah.
I will -1 that.
You
I will
minus-
unlike it, actually.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
I actually like. It's too hard to pick. There's too many good teams here, and there's too many variables. But I think you're right. Home turf definitely does help. I think Liquid and Fnatic both come. Yes, it does. You don't want to fly across the world and play in a different time zone you're not used to. In some place you've never been, and also you're going to Ohio. I mean, it's not like you're.
Have you been to Ohio?
Yeah. Ohio's not the
Nothing
best.
popping in Ohio. It's not gonna get anybody stoked to do anything other than sleep.
All right, I guess so. Maybe that's a bonus, I guess, for a gaming event. So we'll have to see. It should be a good tournament. It should be fun.
I'm surprised nobody's mentioned someone else. Nobody thinks
Speed
one
gaming?
of the favorite.
No, I'm not taking Speed. Sorry.
What?
No.
No one's taking speed?
No, I'm
really?
not. I'm not even putting them in the top.
Wow.
Top 6.
You don't think they're gonna? Oh, game's hard.
Wait, are you saying what? Top 3?
I mean, they're really good. I mean,
Yes, they are really good.
oh,
I'll give
okay.
you that.
I really like our old team. I love the people. I love the players. But do you think Sigma Int's gonna do better than Speed Gaming? Is this what you're professing to everyone here watching?
Yeah. Because if I am wrong, I'll just
Wow.
take the VOD off and the MP3 off, and I'll edit this part and then put it back
You're
in.
right.
So
You're right.
I have the power.
I
No,
overlooked-
okay. So
I overlooked the power.
Hector's just going with the normal top 3. You're gonna go Alliance, Navi, Speed Gaming, and then like Team DK
Listen.
is your 4th. Like
Whoa,
those are
whoa,
the
whoa,
safe
actually-
picks. Those are the safe picks. Come on.
Oh no. They're just that good. And actually, DK, I think, even though they haven't been performing well, and even though we're gonna get into the Korean tournament, DK's really. You can't. They're too good.
They're pretty
Like
good.
individually skilled. Like they're not playing very well
They're
as a
alright.
team, but they even showed it yesterday. I mean, that team's gonna be a force just by sheer power. I mean, look at the players. Like Mushi, I've seen Mushi lose mid and still dominate a mid game over a player that had a better start in the early game and the mid game. it's the Mushi factor too. I'm surprised no one's mentioning those names. I'm very surprised.
Okay, so
very
looking at the roster of teams, all right, I would take Alliance, NaVi, Fnatic, Liquid, and DK all over Speed Gaming. So that would put them right at the 6th slot, right? 1, 2, 3,
I think,
4, 5, 6.
I think Liquid is very. I think you're shooting for the fence there. Like you're aiming for the stars. That's
All right,
a little
what do you want-
overzealous,
what do you
I
want
think.
to bet
Even
on
for
it?
you, Cap.
What do you want to put on it? Come on.
I'll let you make the wager. Liquid
know.
will not make top 3.
I'm not saying top 3. I'm just
talking
saying
top 5?
I'm just saying they're getting higher than Speed Gaming in this tournament.
I
That's all I'm
disagree.
saying.
They're
do you
gonna
wanna
need
bet?
to make top 3 if they're gonna beat.
What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet?
Just saying.
I don't know, man.
You make the wager.
I'm trying to figure it
down.
out. I don't know.
All right. Well, you think, and we'll
We'll figure something out. All right.
But isn't
absolutely.
Speed Gaming going without Bone 7 too?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I'd say
Like,
I'd make an argument.
I
Bone
think
7's
he's
best player on that
one
team.
of the 4.
I think he's one of the best European offlaners. Period. I absolutely agree
Yeah.
with you. But I think I mean, again, at lands, and maybe I look at things a little bit incorrectly. You could correct me, of all people, Cap as well. Finch, I'm sure you'll give me like a good analysis of what I'm
Make
going to
a good
say.
bullshit
I
argument.
think individual skill should take precedent over anything else at lands, because I think your ability, because everything's going to be slowed, right, because of the atmosphere. I mean, if you apply this to like real sports, that shit's crazy and hectic, and not a lot of people can handle that sort of environment. But if you are a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, or in this case, if you're just a little bit smarter and a little bit better, I think you can make up more ground for mistakes, whereas I think the inverse happens. I think if you're already not as good, it's going to be really hard for you to play, even with more teamwork, because I feel like teamwork is really enhanced and highlighted online. Like if you look at the international finals between NaVi and Alliance, you think that was so much teamwork, or you think that was just like individual plays? Those are individual plays that made the difference. I think teamwork matters less on lands because I think of emotion. That's just my personal opinion. So when I make these breakdowns or I analyze any of this, I always go, okay, let's look at it from, individual skill. Who do I think can persevere even under bad conditions like bad starts, weak mid games or whatever? So that's what I base all of this analysis on. In my opinion, I think they're just individually more skilled. Am I wrong? Or do you think I'm wrong?
Finch, just to give you a little bit of stats, to give you a little bit of courage here, Liquid is right now on a 15-game winning spree with a 9-match winning spree.
All right.
So I'm just saying.
I'm standing by it. I would put
totally take the bet.
I would put Liquid over Speed. They're gonna get higher than Speed. I would say that. Top three's hard with the tournament this stacked, but better than Speed. I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna be right on that. So
I will say this though, I don't think DK, Alliance, and NaVi are gonna make the top 3. There is gonna be a surprise somewhere for sure.
all right. So
Because-
Fnatic or Liquid? Sigma.
Speed game. I think Sigma. Well, I think Sigma has a better chance, honestly, than even Team Liquid, only because of Fata. Because Fata's just
He'll step up. He'll step
Like-
up when he needs to.
that dude is legit. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. And I don't think they have a playmaker like him.
Mania, finish
Well, I
this
mean,
argument.
sort of Bobo, but
Finish it. What's happening here?
I still think Liquid is gonna do well. Like I really like how they play right now, so I still think they're gonna go over Speed Gaming. So
That's
like,
right.
I think Bone 7 makes that the team. So without them, I just feel like they're not gonna be as good. Like Artisi is a really good player, but he's just not Bone 7 in that offlane.
Perfect. Case closed. We outvoted you 3-1.
all right.
Now we have to
You're
figure
right.
out a good bet.
Whoa! 3-1.
We're just come on. You're on our team. We're just lumping you in.
I was the one who said you said I'm not going to take best 3, and I said they're going to have to take best 3 in order to beat Speed. All right, no, I have faith that Speed is going to do well. I think RT's played with them a bunch before, so I don't really think that's going to be that big of a deal.
I mean, I think Bone 7 is going to make a significant difference, but I'm just comparing it to Liquid. It's not that I dislike Liquid. I actually like the players. I think they're really good. I just know that nerves are a big issue, and this is what I'm also going, back and harping to. So
Just admit it. You're a self-hating American. That's what it is.
Just yeah.
I mean, I guess.
That's why you took a European team, right? Right?
Wow.
A Russian team now. European
Shots
first, Russian team after.
fired.
Want to pick up Americans, right? Wow.
Listen, I like people that do it the right way. I like people that do it the right way. That's all I'm gonna say about that little comment, Mr. Capitalist.
Wow.
Aren't you moving out of the States, you traitor?
I don't know what to talk. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. No, it's all good. But no, I mean, it's going to be a good tournament, though. I mean, I think MLG has a chance to have that, like, the event of the year not named TI, for sure.
It's gonna be the event of the year not named TI in North America. That's a safe bet because there's nothing else. So
This guy loves to hedge bets.
yeah,
Loves.
that's why. Got to get my item betting out somehow, right?
That's why he never loses.
Never lose. Make good
I
bets.
catch on to his stuff.
It's easy stuff. All right, let's move on. We're running out of time. OGN, you brought that up. Last night was the kind of the big hype match, which was DK Alliance. Mania, did you catch those games?
I didn't see so much. I was asleep at that time.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because it was like 9 o'clock my time, which is, I don't know.
Yeah, it was like middle of the night, I think,
Yeah.
for me.
Cap, did you watch those?
I tried to.
That's what I was getting at. That stream was, I don't know what was up with it. I don't know if it was on their end or Twitch's end, but it was completely unwatchable. It was a pain. It just didn't work for me.
It was bad, and it cut out right at the end too. But I already knew who was gonna win, so I was actually up that late and woke up this early, because I was talking to you
Dedication.
pre-show.
Dedication.
Yeah, but it was a good
Okay.
series.
There's one guy that benefited just an absolute shit ton out of it.
Yeah, there's a guy that like
Got
did
like
some-
3 Reddit threads.
Yeah.
His name's Mike Loris, right? And so I actually did because I was talking about it in the Neo Dota chat. I'll make this quick. Talking about the Neo
Go.
Dota chat, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And he's actually been around for like a year casting, about year and a half, and he has a lot of YouTube content. So he definitely deserves it. He definitely deserves it. He's put in a lot of work. So having that kind of break is just amazing when you're an unknown caster like that. So I'm happy.
Well, Cap knows
Good
if
on him.
anybody's knows about that sort of stuff. Cap's been doing this stuff for a long time. Been doing it and he got his break. So trust me, like
Yo, that
Cap
that
knows.
actually, me looking that up turned into.
Yeah.
I wonder how long I've been casting on and off.
Yeah.
Turns
let's
out,
talk about that.
January, it's gonna be 4 years.
Yep,
Now, when it comes to sheer
that's
content,
pre-Dota Live.
That's pre
So-
Dota Live. Holy shit, that name.
Yeah, let's just put it that way. So I mean, I think he deserved everything that he got. He obviously had a working stream, and
Nobody else did.
you know what the interesting thing
It's always the best way.
about that tournament was? It was a highlight of how the Koreans were, and I'm not gonna take too long on this, but so the Koreans, their supports are so good. They were keeping up with DK. Like there was a match, I think it was for the Union against DK, and I remember. So Mushi actually should have gotten first blooded by the opposing Earthshaker like 3 times, but each time he kept coming back and like, so he started 0-2. That ES started 0-2, but only because Mushi would be at like 10 life, bottle charge, make some sick play, kill him. Then he'll do it again. But the Earthshaker, the fact that he's even putting Mushi under that sort of pressure shows that the Koreans are really ahead of where they're supposed to be. But the problem is that they just lack the individual skill and the know-how to actually follow through with a complete game, because their supports, they know what they're doing. Their skill positions are really struggling. Their carries and their mids, oh my goodness, like that was some stuff tough. I mean, like that was some stuff tough to watch, because I felt really like I don't think a foreign team lost like mid lane once, even
No, I don't think
with
so.
ganks and support. And then even the carries there was one game where Burning was super pressured on Weaver, and he still outcarried that entire team. And they did nothing but say, "Hey, I want to stop Burning."
I think that's just part of the growing pains. I mean, give them time. I still think we're at least a year out for the Korean scene to kind of become a force to be reckoned with. So we'll just gotta ride it out. I think this tournament, obviously, it pulled a lot of viewers. You saw like the live crowd.
Sure.
There was a bunch of people there interested in Dota 2, which I think is the main goal of this whole thing. Is at least get people watching, and then get people playing it. In the LAN cafes and things like that. And we'll go from there. It was just unfortunate that the stream was so glitchy and just not good. And there was the other way around it, but still, it's like OGN's putting this event on. People are already pissed that they locked down the higher quality behind the paywall and put chat behind a paywall and things like that. So it's just like kind of fell flat on that sense. Like this should have been the most hyped game we've had in a while, and it was kind of just a lot of problems. Like I know for me, I invited a bunch of my buddies over. I always do this when we have a big like Dota game or event or something like that. I always just order like 5 pizzas, get like a couple cases of beer, and then tell my friends like, "Hey, come over. I got pizza and beer. It's free. We're gonna watch something." And they usually expect we're gonna watch like the Laker game or the Charger game or something like that. And then I put on Dota, and they're usually just like, like they don't want to watch it. And I try to like break it down, like, no, like trust me, this is cool. Right? So this DK team, they're like a bunch of like all-stars, and they just came together, and they're super good, and these Alliance guys, they're sick rich now, like all this stuff, and they're just like, all right, fine, we'll watch this, like we'll muster up and watch this game. And then the stream just lagged for like 20 minutes all through the draft. It just was so bad. And then if I got to a point where it's just like, all right, guys, well, I guess we'll watch some college football or something instead, because this is...
You are a braver man than I am, sir. I would never try and pull that.
I've tried for the...
I think what you should do is watch the VOD of TI3 Game 5. I think everything goes away exciting. After that point.
I keep
You're
trying...
like, man, that's the coolest game ever.
I know. But it was unfortunate because, well, the one big thing, at least for this stream, that it was cool, and then my one buddy said that the cool thing about it was like the fact that the production, you have the crowd, you have the players, like it had that vibe of like, oh shit, there's a lot of people there, this is exciting, people care about this stuff. It had that, those sick camera cuts kind of sliding around and zooming in on the players and the introductions, and there was a lot of good production value in it, but then just, it's laggy and it doesn't really work that well, and kind of just dropped the ball on it, unfortunately. We'll see. Next week is the last week for the OGN Invitational. Korean teams still have yet to kind of come out on top, and we'll see how that goes. Actually, no, it's not next week. It's the week after, correct? I think they're taking a week off for MLG, right?
Yep, everybody's being respectful to MLG.
All right. So, yeah, that is that. Any other tournaments, gameplay, anything like that you guys saw this week you want to bring up before we kind of talk a little bit about the Alliance WePlay Grand Final?
No.
Nothing?
Nope.
Nothing. All right. So we'll talk about that. We'll jump to talking about the finals a bit, and a little bit of a disclaimer, I guess, before we jump to it. We had a little bit of issues this week with the fancy draft overlays that we had last week. We still plan to have those this week. We just shit happened, and it's our fault. We fucked up, but we don't have those, so we're just going to make do. And then also the other part, which is kind of exciting, is we're going to start getting clips from within the games, capture the clips, and then talk about it. I know that was kind of the big feedback a lot of people said was, hey, that was cool that you guys talked about the games, but it's hard to know what you're talking about. So we're going to try to get these like shorter clips. If we talk about something specific, show the clips, and then kind of build upon that. Obviously, if you're an MP3 person, I got that feedback as well. People on MP3 were like, we didn't know what you guys were talking about because we couldn't see any pictures. So I'll try to do a better job of announcing the names and stuff like that we're talking about, rather than like, hey, look right here. Those two formats are very different. So this week we have a couple. Next week we're going to try to have a better, more refined, kind of shorter burst clips and things like that. So this is a full working process, and that is my disclaimer. Before we jump over there real quick, thank you to our sponsor, Tweaked Audio, over at tweakedaudio.com. If you go to tweakedaudio.com and use the code FIRSTPICK, just all one word, FIRSTPICK, you get 33% off your order. You get free shipping. They ship worldwide. Tweaked Audio produces some of the highest quality earbuds I've ever owned. Anyone who's ever purchased them always comes back saying that they also agree that they're the highest quality. I'm wearing them right now. Very, very nice. You can get them with a mic, without a mic. They have 7 different styles. I think they have like 8 or 9 different colors. Tons of great stuff, great quality products from them. Even on top of their, the good price and everything, they give you a lifetime warranty. So if something goes wrong, you call them up. They send you a new pair, no questions asked. They've been nothing but fantastic when it comes to that kind of stuff. So go to tweakedaudio.com, use the code FIRSTPICK, get 33% off, free shipping, and all that kind of good stuff. So let's jump over to...
hey, I'm buying 50 right now.
50, do it. So
Woo!
Help us out.
Got me hyped for that.
And let's see if I can do this without completely breaking the full overlay. We'll see what happens. Mania, why don't you talk first about these games, kind of the whole series as a whole. How did you think it kind of stood up to the hype?
Like most of the games were pretty short and one-sided, but I think we got a really nice last game again, so it was good. Overall, it was like as you expect, to go forward and backwards, and it ended pretty well. I thought that NaVi would win, and then they won in the end, so I was really happy about that.
I thought, it was a very hyped series, and obviously the one unfortunate part is this happened last Sunday, and so a week ago today, so it's a little bit not as fresh in everybody's mind. What do you guys feel about some of the drafts in this series? We kind of see the continuing trend of stuff. So I just brought up on the screen or on the stream just kind of the Join Dota picks and bans thing. So thank you to Join Dota for letting us piggyback off their website this week. What do you guys think? Obviously, Clockwork's been kind of picked very, very frequently. Venomancer continues to dominate. Cap, was there any heroes that stood out to you in any of these games?
Timbersaw's just been, I feel that the meta has been a big boost to his popularity. Him being off lane, he's just a monster now with the new creep equilibrium in that regards. I think which one was it? There was a really odd situation. It wasn't in game 1 where they did NaVi put like Clink's mid instead of their Timbersaw. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was Timber Naga farming. Yeah, and it was Clink's mid. That was a really interesting decision that obviously did not pan out for them at all. But that was interesting, having Timbersaw as pretty much your one, trying to farm up. Other than that, specific heroes, not really. I mean, I don't think there were any really big heroes that were picked up.
Dominated Magnus mid game too.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? I mean, he put a beat down on S4.
Oh, the Venomancer mid?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That one was interesting as well. I think that is actually Venomancer is a ton of power. Like as a support, there's so many different builds. Like you're watching all these different players, and they build it up different ways. And it's obviously completely situational, but it goes to show you that every single skill on Venomancer now is highly, highly valued. And like for example, the new Gale is extremely powerful mid game, and it does an insane amount of damage. I think it does like 500 damage, almost 480 damage. I think over time, absolutely insane. So it goes to show you that the power of Venomancer in the mid game, and in order to take that away from the support, you're only getting a limited amount of experience. You can't level everything up at once. I mean, put him in mid, get in that all that free experience, and
they even farmed the Prophet that game as a carry, and it worked. And Prophet still wins. I think Prophet is like 7-1 or 7-2 since 6.79.
Mm-hmm. I think like Alliance in that game specifically, they had a decent amount of burst damage. I felt they just didn't quite have enough. Maybe it was the bounty hunter. I'm not.
I think it was the
entirely
Mirana
sure.
carry, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they had a different carry, I think they could have hung tight, because Loda at one point had like 600 GPM, and they didn't have like tier 3 towers, but yet couldn't take down DP or anybody really, despite all the right click items he had. So I just think her as a carry still is kind of tough.
Are we gonna go through this game, each game by game?
I have clips from games 1 and games 5 that I'd show. I have other clips for the other ones, but they're way too long, and we'd be here until it got dark. So I got game 1 and game 5 loaded up. We could talk about.
I just wanted to get Media's thoughts real quick on game 2. So it was Alliance, Admiral Bulldog, Bounty Hunter, Magnus, Podum, Crystal Maiden, and Windrunner for Alliance versus Earthshaker, Death Prophet, Venomancer, Clockwork, and Visage. A lot of damage over time there with the Death Prophet and the Venomancer, particularly. Especially the Death Prophet, you really want to burst him down. Do you agree with what Frost was saying? Like, they needed something other than the Mirana? Like, I don't know, maybe like Gyrocopter was something that occurred to me when I was watching that game that wasn't banned out. More burst heavy. What do you think?
For me, the Mirana, I think it was okay, but really needed to be more involved. Like, I think he went for Midas or something.
Midas, yeah.
Yeah, and like they really needed early game, so if he would have gotten like more involved, like maybe he could get like face boost drums fast and try make some kills. Then, like if he just wanted to farm, then Mirana was not the right hero. But he can make a lot of things happen with his ult. I think I don't even remember if he used ult in start, but I saw one game with like a Mirana who just used his ults perfectly and he just dominated the game or just with ults. So you can make a lot of stuff happen with like gangs and stuff like that all over the map with Mirana. But like I see them use a lot of Gyro, so maybe Gyro would be better or something for them in this matchup. Could also hold a combos well with the mech and stuff like that too. So
when I saw this, I immediately thought PA should have been a selection. What do you think about PA? Especially because, so I figured she could do crits at long range, never in trouble. And the problem with Death Prophet early on, regardless of if you start stacking HP items, is one crit, and she automatically has to pop her Yules if she has one, or her Ghost Scepter if she has one, or whatever. She has to already start to run away. She can no longer stay in there for the initial wave of damage. Would you have, so I mean, I know it's theory crafting and hindsight's always 20/20, but PA or Gyro, you feel should have been the choice, or you still feel like they did good with the Mirana, he just didn't participate early enough?
Yeah, I just I wouldn't say they did good with Mirana because he didn't participate. So like it could have been any carry hero and it wouldn't have done anything. But like if you played more involved, like it could have been Pia, as you said. Like then they would have a bit more like late game power and easier to take down heroes. Because right now they couldn't kill anything when they used Magnus ult on DP. They couldn't finish it, and if you can't finish a DP, then you just die and lose the fight. Like you really need to take him down, and he got like a lot of farm from bottom to just standing there all game, and then he got hard and all the good items. So I really liked his item choices too. Helped a lot with the hits and the tankability and stuff like that. So I just felt like NaVi played better as a team. They were trying to force the fights with 5-man, while the others they tried to hold it with EGM and Magnus and stuff like that.
And the thing is, too, that's a low armor team, so DP played right into their hands. Because how are they going to stop it? Like, the supports are never going to get Ghost Scepters fast enough. Maybe EGM, because he does farm very well at the 4 spot. But there's, like, I feel like Death Prophet is one of the strongest heroes in this 6.79, and I am still confused as to why she's not played more.
So you're saying you're a fan of DP? Like
I've always been a fan of DP. Okay. And Yules,
But it's one of those heroes where you, like, if you force fights outside of the map and not close to barracks, then you have to choose, am I going to use ult? Then suddenly if you have a push red, you can't really push after that because you have to wait. And
you have to wait.
It's like, I think good teams are really good at dragging like big ults out like that. So, but
the thing was they had a Fisher block. On top of that, they had RP. Like, or they were going against an RP. So if you're going to RP the DP, guess what? You're going to get flooded with NaVi heroes. They had Clockwork. They had a Fisher block. They had a Venomancer. I mean, fight into that. And the thing is, NaVi can dictate fights on their terms. You want to fight me under your tower? That's fine. You want to get out of position? We'll kill you at Roshan. You want to actually be around in your jungle? We can catch you there too. They had like a perfect lineup to just honestly abuse the Mirana pick, because I don't think Mirana's strong enough to be played as a carry. I just think she doesn't. Her attack animation isn't fast enough. She needs way too many items. And I think Starfall, even though it does a lot of damage, I don't think it's enough quote-unquote burst damage to justify, I think, her at the 1. So initially, I thought coming out the gates, NaVi was going to be good. And DP is just strong, man. That silence, too. 5-second spammable ability. She hurts. She hurts.
DP hurts.
She hurts, and she tears down Roshan. The thing is, like Mania said, like you have to have an identity with that pick. So you have to know, okay, I'm gonna only fight when we go to push towers, right? So we siege, we fight there. If not, we back up, we retreat, or we force fight into Roshan and all that stuff. I agree with him that DP can get kited really easily, but that's why I think items like Atos and I think Yules for defensive purposes is good, and Yules can also be used offensively as well. That's something that most people overlook about the Yule Scepter, is it just allows your team, if you catch someone out of position, you can just completely circle that target, especially if it's a priority target like a carry. But I love the picks. I love the draft. I thought that was really good. And even game 3, I think Alliance did the same thing that NaVi did. They just picked a more developed, refined strategy. NaVi was kind of tinkering like Alliance was with the Mirana pick, and then they kind of got swindled too in game 3. That whole series was back and forth. Like NaVi punched them, Alliance punches them right back, and it was like that, including in all the way down to game 5.
I think it was a great series. Let's jump into some clips real quick, and then we can touch on anything else we need. First clip we have is some couple things.
Your turn to pick.
Wrong one. Almost played the intro again. So we got some clips from game 1 that happened, and right away, I don't know if you guys look at the stream or not, but getting that first, I guess second kill with this trap, I thought was pretty awesome. And just the way, Alliance just kind of controlled the flow of this game and done stuff where it felt like they controlled the game from all the way through. They kind of controlled the flow, the tempo, they controlled the jungle, all this kind of stuff that was, very interesting. And then also you got Funnick playing mid on the Clinks, which, obviously they're changing it up there. And NaVi did such a good job of just shutting him down and applying that pressure and just not allowing him to get the room that he needed. Chen was kind of a game breaker in this, It was. What do you guys think about the Chen kind of just completely controlling Funnick and stuff around the map?
Ake is the best Chen in the world.
Think so? More than Puppy?
That dude. Oh yeah. It's not that he's quote unquote better. It's just I feel like he has his ganking success rate. I feel is much higher. That's just my opinion. Mania. Who would you like? Who do you think would be the better Puppy or Chen?
I still think Ake is the best. Like he does everything really good always with his creeps, and he always baits fights. Like I saw him. I think I saw a bit of the DK game where he just sent 2 creeps in, and DK got baited to try hit it a bit, and then suddenly someone got netted and stunned, and then suddenly they lost the whole fight on that. Just got picked off one by one after that. It's just so crazy to see, but he does it all the time. And also this game, he also, I don't know, they had Havost offlane with the Darkseer, and he just died 2 times early where he just really shouldn't have, and that gave so much level to Chen. So Chen was level 6 at minute 5, which really, if you give the Chen level so fast, it's so hard to stop pushes after that, and he just kept dominating, getting 2 creeps and running around, killing everything.
I think the difference in that matchup, early on especially, was that Alliance got way more out of the jungle. And with ganks, than Navi did, because Navi didn't really kill Lone Druid, and they weren't really stacking and pulling and getting stuff out of the jungle, and they did effectively tri-lane that in a sense. So I thought that was a big difference too. Just Alliance from the beginning, why they were so good, was because they started becoming a powerhouse when they started to manipulate camps and started to just stack and just allow Loda just so much extra farm that other people weren't getting. And then they started to just abuse the dual jungle against an opposer in the off lane. And I think this was like a showcase of that. It was almost like 6.78 again, because they did it again. And Ake was just everywhere. He just controlled the game. I mean, but he does that. He's just so good. It's just ridiculous, actually.
And then the second clip we have is Stuff Game 5, which is obviously the deciding factor, I guess the deciding game. And the reason this clip is in here is absolutely hilarious. For one, the Venomancer juking, he tried so hard, but I guess there is a little bit of positive that he did stall for that long. It forced NaVi to get so far out of position and kind of waste a lot of time.
Well, they missed almost 2 waves because of that. Like, they missed a 30-second, and then look, the next one's coming right now at a minute.
But that Venomancer juke, just staying alive that long was really impressive. Manny, how do you feel about kind of the DK Night Stalker matchup we saw in this game? Do you think that should Night Stalkers win that matchup, or what do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty even. Like, you can spam a bit, but like if you get ganked early, it's pretty tough for DK. Because if you try, just keep DK's HP down. But yeah, I think the only difference is that Ines just does a lot more. Like when it gets dark, and if he gets a TP out, as you saw, he can just run around and kill people. And yeah, it's really hard to stand against it.
And then, this one clip that was going on right now for audio people, Dendi gets a haste rune, he TP's top, and he picks up kills. And just that movement where he's flying around the map, I guess quite literally as a Night Stalker, picking up those kills, pressuring the tower, picking people off. Like, they won that fight because Dendi was running in and out. I mean, he was at low health that whole time, and the fact that they were able to stay alive that long with it was very, very impressive. But then on top of that, you're applying the pressure with the Night Stalk and the Chen and all this kind of stuff, and then you have Medusa free farming bottom lane just the whole game. And then, going into the game as well, you have Medusa Shadow Shaman, which you don't think Medusa Shadow Shaman has a dominant lane, and they just absolutely crushed Bulldog down there and Bulldog on the Lone Druid. They played. He
lost his bear early and then lost it again, and he was screwed.
And just made such a big difference on those fights. I mean, Frost, was there anything else in this game that you thought that was, particularly kind of...
No, I think you summed it up exactly right. Because of Dendi's performance on Balinar, and that's just Balinar. Like, I think the smartest thing out of that draft was, everyone's going to point at the Medusa, but it's not just Medusa, right? Because you could have added Void, you could have added, like, other super ultra late game heroes, but it was so balanced. If you look at that team and the balance of it, so you have Chen, who doesn't really scale well into the late, but Chen does exceptionally well in the early game. You have Balinar, who doesn't scale well late, but then you combat that with an early Hex, Cogs, Clockwork Hooks, and then the most important element of all of this, a very strong late game carry that does damage to multiple targets.
Yep. This is a recipe.
All Hopos did was sit there and just farm. He's like, don't worry, guys, I got you. Boom. When it came time to turn it on, like clockwork, pun intended, he just went to town, and there was nothing they can do. Because once they started to slow down Dendi, it didn't matter. He created enough space, bought enough time, that I think, he just wrecked them. That was a very good game. But the Balinar selection as well. So when Alliance picked Balinar, they won. When NaVi picked Balinar, they won. I think it was just a constant back and forth because they kept doing that. Because anytime Alliance picked Venomancer, they won. Anytime Navi picked Venomancer, they won. There's just so many heroes that are very strong if you obviously drafted with a purpose. And I feel like that was the great part of all this that no one talks about is the exceptional drafting on both sides. that was like a back and forth like mind game to counter a mind game to counter the mind game. Like that was really some next level drafting, that whole series, and I thought it was really cool how that all went down. That was a fun series.
Especially
That to
also
me
the
was
laning of it.
awesome.
It was really good.
Yeah.
For NaVi.
Oh yeah. Like
That
against the
goal,
Bulldog to go Shadow
Shadow
Shaman Medusa, right? That was like, what? And what's funny was BTS at first were like, what are they doing? And it's not a slight to BTS because I'm sure most of us thought the same thing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then guess what? They killed the bear twice in like 3 minutes, 3 and 4. Like, what? And Shadow Shaman went Hex first and started maxing Hex, which I thought was really interesting. When Hex, hold, Hex again. So it was actually really cool to see. That's like super high level play that we become really accustomed to.
Yeah.
But you really break down the little nuances of that series. Oh man, that was fantastic. That shit was dope.
Man, do you think there's any chance we see more Shadow Shaman?
Probably most as solo mid. I saw a lot of teams try the solo mid still, and it's still really good. So, like even with the buff with the extra 7 wards, I think you can use it more.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope to see it. It's like Hex is always good throughout the game, so it's also a great late game out. So
Especially if it's free. Lion and Shadow Shaman, I was surprised 6.78 that they weren't getting enough play because the easiest way to stop counter pushers is a blink Hex. But if you get it free, you don't have to buy the Hex. You can actually get a blink and it substitutes the same. And I was really surprised during that whole time that we didn't see enough of that. Like I know the heroes had effective weaknesses, but I feel like I mean again the geniuses of the draft, like these guys, Goblak and even TC. I think TC is actually a really good drafter. They could find ways to maneuver. So yeah, you get a weaker pick here, but he has a free Hex, and you can use that Hex.
yeah, but
very
also
early.
Shadow Shaman as a hero, he's
Yeah.
so good late game. Like, have you seen
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a full items Shadow Shaman with refresh, Aghanim's, and Hex? Then you have 2 Hex. You can just perma Hex and perma disable. It's so crazy, and you can just put in 2 sets of wards and destroy base. You can do so many stuff with it. So, like, it's just a great hero. I just want to see it be played more, especially in the late game. It's
I think the cool
it
thing
can be
with
used so much.
the cool thing with Shadow Shaman is that he has the shackle, he has the Hex, but then also you have to factor in the ward trap. A lot of times,
Yeah.
you ward trap somebody, hex somebody, shackle somebody. It's
Yeah.
like there's 3 disables all at the same hero.
Interesting note about that. Icebox changed that because remember, you used to be able to phase boots out of it. Now you cannot. And I think that also has helped his progress. Sorry, Cap, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's way easier to get ward traps now. I think Shadow Shaman, like Mania was saying, is going to see a lot more play, especially in the mid. He just has to get over. Teams have to kind of get over that hump where he's a very traditional intelligence mid, which means that you have an ability that you spam out for both CS and harassment. Unfortunately, normally those intel mids don't really have any sort of escape mechanism. They're pretty squishy. They have no escape mechanisms. They're really susceptible to ganks. The biggest problem is he just can't harass the enemy hero just because that lightning bolt doesn't have enough. Until level 5, he doesn't really get those assured on the enemy hero, and by that time you've already had a rotation. So you can't get that constant harassment on the enemy hero to put him on the defensive. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to see an early gank on Shadow Shaman, and that enemy mid hero that's facing up against SS is going to be full health and ready for that gank. And teams just have to find ways to work around that. I think that's just one of the biggest pitfalls. Whenever I'm watching teams try and draft that Shadow Shaman mid, it always comes down to his early laning and how they're able to put pressure on Shadow Shaman and keep him down enough where he doesn't get this overblown, oh my god, he's got Aghanims and level 2 ultimate, and those wards are too damaging. I mean, the wards give up. If you can keep Shadow Shaman down and he starts throwing down those wards and you're ahead enough in a team fight or something, that you're actually getting an extra 300 gold out of that, 300 to 400 gold out of those wards. So it's that's the biggest thing. So whether that means extra roaming from supports, that's one of the things that I saw from I can't remember what team I was watching, but they roamed really heavily with at least one support into the mid to constantly put in that pressure. I think that teams just have to address that, and then we're going to see just a large amount of Shadow Shamans being picked up in that mid role. I really think so.
Very nice. I like it. All right, we're running out of time. I don't want to go super long. Real quick, we had a patch. We have to address the patch really fast. Cap, Earth Spirit or Ember Spirit? Which one do you like more?
Earth Spirit.
Good choice.
Higher skill cap.
Mania, how about you?
I saw Ember Spirit most, but I haven't played anything. I haven't played Dota the last week because I've just been so busy. So I haven't been able to enjoy the new patch. So can't really say much of.
All right.
Which one I like.
All right, that's fair enough. Frost, do you have any preference on those two?
I agree with everything that Cap said, but you asked me what I liked. I like Ember Spirit much more. I think he's more fun.
He is fun.
But Earth Spirit is phenomenal, and Cap's absolutely 100%. That is a true skill cap hero. That hero can make the difference a lot of times in games. And if a player is really good at that hero, oh man, good luck.
A lot of top 10 vids, a lot of top 10 videos, and a lot of top fails of the week videos are going to come out from that hero specifically.
Yep.
It's going to be good. All right, so do you think either of them have any role to shake up the competitive scene?
Earth Spirit for sure, 100%.
You think so? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Ember, no.
I'd like to see that. Go for it.
Biggest problem with Ember Spirit, I feel, is that most of the time he wants mid, but he can't succeed well versus most ranged heroes. His stat growth is pretty poor, so going into late game, that's a big issue. And his mobility in mid game is great. It's just, again, one of those heroes where you're usually sacrificing too much when you try and pick him up and try and make him work. I think maybe a bit of a stat growth might help him out, but honestly, it's hard to say. I mean, he's just such an interesting and dynamic hero that I'm sure at least a couple teams are going to work him in, and he'll have some mild success, but I don't think he's going to shake up the scene too much. Earth Spirit, I think, has a little bit more. It's probably going to take longer, first of all, because many of these players probably haven't even played Earth or Fire Spirit, Ember Spirit, just because we're getting past the heroes that teams have played in Dota 1. We're getting past that point. Now we're getting to the heroes that were introduced way after people have moved on to other games. And so some of these players, and if they have, it's been way too long. So both of them have pretty decent skill caps, so it's going to be a while until we see either one. But when they do, I think Earth Spirit, I agree with Frost, has much more potential.
All right. Mania, do you foresee either of them shaking things up?
Yeah, I wouldn't really know, but yeah, I think so. Like from what you said, they sound really Ember.
Oh, so you haven't actually played them yet?
Yeah, I haven't played them at all. So.
Oh, okay, all right. Then that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to drop some knowledge on us, saying you've played a whole bunch of them.
Oh no, I haven't played them all.
Okay.
No.
Then that is even more interesting because I didn't realize they were so new. In a
Yeah,
way.
they were post the creation of Dota 2.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, though, Earth Spirit's a better offlaner because he just needs levels. He doesn't need items. He's one of the least item-dependent heroes that have that sort of impact, I think, in the game.
It seems like once you get Arcane, you can start doing a lot of crazy
Arcane, Force, or Pipe, or Veil, I still think that's an underrated item, but Veil is increasingly effective on him because obviously all this thing's magic, and if you have other magic on your team, it's really well. The range is really good, and remember, he can initiate from so far away, and I think off lane, especially with this off lane, when it's almost like a safe lane off lane, it's like a half protected off lane. I think he'll be a really good off lane just because once he gets the levels, that's it. And if you can position yourself correctly, he's strong. I mean, his initiation and then another thing, so you can combo him with heroes like Enigma. So if you go my ideal scenario would be like a 2 jungle mid, so like a 2+1 mid off lane, and if you have an Enigma, you literally can roll his ass into them, almost like a snowball, and stun them once they get there to make sure he doesn't get initiated on. Pop the BKB, black hole. He's actually pretty sick.
Yeah, all those things are exactly what makes him a really good 4 as well. So there's a lot more versatility to him as a hero. like just in general, he's a lot more versatile. Whereas Ember Spirit, it's hard to tell. Again, the problem with going mid, going up against range heroes, he's not strong enough really to put in your one position, and I think he needs the experience too badly to go in the off lane. He's in a very awkward position. But Earth Spirit as well as when it comes to getaways, like in that 4 position, him being able to pull back allies is exceptionally good. I mean, any hero right now, any hero that has any sort of ability to move units around the map, some sort of ability to help out with positioning is going to be highly valued. I think that's one of the biggest assets on Earth Spirit is the fact that he's able to pull back those allies. I mean, if you've ever seen, I've had it a couple times in games where we've gone in, we've had a good team fight, or we siege the base or something, we tried to get away. Bat Rider, right? One of the best possible ganking heroes out there to reposition enemies into bad positions. I had an Earth Spirit. My friend Pigeon saved me by kicking me forward, rolling his ass forward, and then he got in front of me because he rolled so far forward, and then pulled me back even more. So I went like 2,000 units, and both of us went like 2,000 units after being in what should have been a terrible position. That isn't always going to happen, obviously, but I think that pullback is such an easy, short little spammable spell to get allies or enemies into really bad positions. Because it's really easy to just throw down a stone behind an enemy and just instantly stun them by pulling the stone back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad Cap said that, because I was going to say he's a Bat Rider counter, because as soon as someone lassos, he actually can just bring them behind his own team. And then if he uses his role, he can just, like, the lasso you see extends really far. Like, it's actually pretty incredible how good the hero is. Ember, though, I think is one of the strongest laners I've seen in a long time. That Radiance Burn that absorbs magic damage, if you want to win a lane... So, like, I feel like the only way to possibly put him in a competitive scenario is if you're going 2-1-2, and you want to win that bottom lane, and you want to suppress their carry. Like, if they have, like, a Luna, or, like, they have a strong, like, Gyro or whatever, screw you. Max that shield, just walk up to him and say, hit me, I dare you. Because it absorbs magic damage, gives a Radiance Burn, and he has a Disable. So if you want to win a lane... I think that's the way to go. If you want to win your lanes, I think that's the only way we'll see him. But in terms of his productivity, I don't think he scales very well. And I also disagree with the bat. So in game, it tells you to get a Battle Fury. I feel like instead of a Battle Fury, buy yourself a Desolator, because he also has an ability which allows you to jump in between the targets. You can apply you can orb attack without orb attacking. You can just apply that minus armor debuff on everybody.
And if you're going some sort of AoE build like that, I actually prefer Mjolnir. I think both of those. I really like Deso on him as well. The 3 Battle Fury build that's suggested, it's good, but it's not the top build that you could build on.
I completely agree with Cap there. Like, if you get orbs, because even lightning, right? Like, you just get. That's way better than I think a Battle Fury, because a Battle Fury forces him to farm. And that hero's not meant to sit there and rice. He's meant to be played aggressively. Battle Fury is, the total opposite of that. So.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. I just wanted to briefly bring it up. We'll have to revisit this maybe next week, the week after, once we have kind of more games under our belt with them and see what they do. Let's wrap this up, though. Mania, why don't you go first? Shout-outs, where can people find you, all that stuff?
You can find me at 30mania at Twitter. So that's basically it. No shout-outs this week.
All right. Short, sweet, simple. I like it.
Yeah.
Cap, why don't you go first? Thank you again for joining us. Where can people find you?
You can find the poor man's Merlini over at Twitch TV/TheCapitalist and on Twitter at TheCapitalist. And I'll be streaming. I'll be streaming right after this, whether it's some pubs or maybe XCOM. I just found out about Enemy Within. So.
Whoa, XCOM, good game. I haven't got the expansion. You let me know how it is though, because that game is boss.
I was watching somebody else play it, Lethal Frag play it, and it looked a lot of fun, so I reinstalled that.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Frost, how about you? You don't have anything, do you?
I've been streaming a lot lately, though.
Okay.
F3 Frost, I've come around, and I'm not even going to bother with my Twitter or any of that stuff. If you need me, actually, you can email the show for feedback if you have any questions or concerns or anything you would like from me.
All right, it's easy. And that email for the show for feedback is firstpickdota@gmail.com. As well for Twitter, it's just firstpickdota, same thing, nice and simple. You can follow me on Twitter as well at IndieFinch, and that's my stream as well, but I don't really stream that much anymore, so go watch Cap stream instead. Thank you guys for watching, listening, MP3 people, live people, all that kind of stuff. What?
No hot seat?
No hot seat? No, we gotta call it this time. Next week, the week after, we'll have a hot seat. We run out of time, and I'm already getting texts saying, "Where are you? I thought you were supposed to be here at 2:30."
Speaking of a hot seat, that's why there's no hot seat.
I'm in the hot seat. I gotta get out.
That's why there's no hot seat. He's on the hot seat right now.
Seat, yeah. So
He's gonna whoop his ass.
We'll get some good hot seat, and when we do it, Cap, you can come back, and you can do the hot seat if you want. You can get some good hot seat questions.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching, listening. We'll keep doing these shows, and if you have feedback, let us know, please. We're trying to make the show better each week, and we'll try to do our best to work with it and get a product that everybody likes. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of First Pick.
Your turn to pick.
Gotta play that intro. Peace. Shout out to Rags. You keep forgetting about Rags. Rags official team features YouTube. That's amazing.
Your tear 2 towers in your rats getting murked. Demolished, we send my way from the start to the finish like